We have a replay from Battlelancer and G Genesis. Skaven versus Slaanesh. One of Skaven's bad matchups, but one of their more playable ones. I still avoid it, but it's not in their top 3 worst. Slaanesh is built to beat up on Skaven, but they've just received so many nerfs over the past couple patches when they used to be dominant poor choice of words, but dominant and domination. They took a bunch of nerfs, and they were pretty good in land battles back then, too. Now, I hear they are meh in domination, and usually pretty bad in land battles. But Skaven is one of their better matchups they can still do okay in. For the Skaven, we have a Warlord up on his Brood Horror mount for some regen. Make it a little harder to Lord Snipe when he does have Rally to increase the leadership of his nearby troops. We have Warlock Engineer with Flensing Ruin and Warpstone Armor, the Mortis Engine effect he can have. We have the Teeth Breakers, 3 Poison Globes, and then a front line of a bunch of Clan Rats. Just a bunch of Clan Rats, Spears and Shields, with Council Guard, Unbreakable Storm Vermin, 2 Rat Ogres, and 2 Gutter Runners. Ooh, just a Gutter Runner and Night Runner, my bad. On the other side, we have a Keeper of Secrets, the Bound Acquiescence and Lash of Slaanesh. We have a Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows of Pendulum, Enfeebling Foe, Pit of Shades, and Milkhusk Mystifying Miasma. Devoted Marauders and Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh across the front line, some with Hell Scourges, some with not, without. Sigvald the Magnificent, and then 2 Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, 2 Chaos Furies of Slaanesh, and 2 Hell Striders of Slaanesh. Rat Ogre's taking a bit of free skirmish fire. They don't have Jezzails or anything to counterfire with these skirmish calves. They do just kind of have to accept that damage for a little bit. Poison Globe's going to get a good start onto the Devoted Marauders, doing a bit of damage, though. I do feel in the last 4 or 5 months, Poison Globes don't really do that much damage versus infantry compared to cavalry. They do insane, overpowered, redonkulous amounts of damage to cavalry. It's actually upsetting. But versus infantry, they're actually not that insane. Like, that one took a lot of damage, but he was also getting shot by the Teeth Breakers. Teeth Breakers get rear charged by the Chaos Furies. The Poison Globes get rear charged by the other Chaos Furies. The Chaos Furies of Slaanesh specifically have really high armor piercing values, so they can get through the Skaven weapons teams even faster than most things can. Devoted Marauders fighting Clan Rats while still supported by Globes, and the Keeper of Secrets in the distance just lurking, ready to get in on the fight when it can. Rat Ogres will get eaten alive by these Hellstriders of Slaanesh. There's big disruption going on. Clan Rats with Spears going to rout off these Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, get them away from here while Rat Ogres try and recharge the Chaos Furies. The Chaos Furies do get away after routing off an entire Poison Wind Globe. And Sigvald plus his Chaos Sorcerer got through the front line and are now going to disrupt some Poison Wind Globes of their own. Flensing Ruin Overcast onto the Keeper of Secrets, going to try and tear them down. We'll see if the Night Runners and Gutter Runners can focus fire over onto that big thing. With only 0 armor, because the Flensing Ruin and a Bronze Shield is actually rather susceptible to this skirmish cav fire. Teethbreaker is going to fire up into the Chaos Furies as they charge, but the charging leadership bonus will keep them in it for now as they try and eat up the Teethbreakers. Warlord charges over to try and deal with them. Their leadership starts to falter, and then they will demonic instability crumble to death like their cousins behind them just did. So say goodbye to both the Furies. This Poison Globe's going to come back in and deal with some of these infantry on the front line, I bet. Sigvald is fighting Rat Ogres, and he is happy as a clam to do so. He is just fine, as another globe is routed off by the Hellstriders and the Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh. Though he did manage to get himself completely surrounded in Clan Rats and Storm Vermin, does chuck out a Pit of Shades to buy himself a little bit of time and space, and that is a very high value Pit of Shades, doing a lot of damage to that elite Unbreakable Halberd. Teethbreaker's getting some shots off, doing negative damage. Abysmal. I hate Skaven right now. They're just so fucking bad. Doing meaningless damage to the Hellstriders, but the Hellstriders just break off combat and come fight them instead. Council Guard continuing to fight the Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh, who is still completely surrounded. And now Rat Ogres are joining in the fight too. That is a nasty loss for Slaanesh. Another Pendulum out. Dude, this guy has so much Winds of Magic. How are you doing that? Okay, more damage to Council Guard, but he's still surrounded, still gonna die. Keeper of Secrets is trying to fight it out. Sigvald gonna beat up on some Rat Ogres, try and free himself from their clutches. The Chaos Warriors move forward to fight the Warlord and some Spears. We have 2 Forgotten Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. This is really brutal on the side of Slaanesh. They need to get these guys back in, because you just use them as melee attackers to rout off the Teethbreakers, to make sure anything that is routing stays routing. So forgetting them up on the high ground is a really bad sign for Slaanesh here. Keeper of Secrets, getting low on HP, decides to go off and fight some random Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves. Get rid of these guys. Nice and easy. And then Narcissism is cast on the Warlord, netting him in place so that Sigvald can maybe catch up to him and get a couple shots in. Poison Globes doing a decent damage to the Keeper of Secrets, but also doing a lot of damage to their own friends. Very Skavenly. Yes, yes. And the Teethbreakers are secure once again. Start shooting at Sigvald. Shoot mostly over his head. The Marauder Horsemen are remembered at last, starting to rejoin the fight. The Teethbreakers poke away at Sigvald. Not a lot of damage coming out of them. Excuse me. Keeper of Secrets, only 700 HP left. Does rout off those globes yet again. And the Marauder Horse... Oh god, the Marauder Horseman did a lot of damage to the Warlord there. That was brutal. Is this an Overcast? Overcasted Flensing Ruin. Hits Sigvald, great target for that. Bounce powers by 50-50 as the Teethbreakers fire into the Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, getting better damage onto them than it has anything else so far. They do get charged. Takes strangely little damage from that charge. That was odd, but now they're starting to get beat up. Rat Ogres and the Warlord from behind should get rid of these Marauder Horsemen, pushing them off the map, which is right there. Keeper of Secrets still alive and just going to spend his time chasing off some dudes. And I just thought I saw a pendulum. Holy crap, the Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows is still alive. And the Teethbreakers are still alive. What a weird game. Feels like nothing's routing. Anyway, Warlock Engineer is draining down these Chaos Warriors and Devoted Marauders that are nearby. The Council Guard fighting at the very last, and the Teethbreakers still firing away into the Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh, doing tens of damage. Poisonwind Globes rallying with some Clan Rats. The Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh is trying to get away so he can cast his spells somewhere more meaningful, but the Warlord looks to be after him. Keeper of Secrets lost their attack orders or finished what they were beating up on, so they are just AFK in the woods for now, and the Warlock Engineer is still chilling. Sorcerer of Shadows is taken out by the Warlord, and he's not coming back at this point. Marauder Horseman will finish off the Teethbreakers once and for all as a cloud moves over our limited light, making this even darker for some reason. Have some Gutter Runners fighting against Sigvald here. Council Guard down to 38 models, piling in to fight the depraved Prince of Slaanesh, whose healing cap is not in sight yet, so Sigvald still has a lot of healing left. Poisonwind Globes chucking away at the Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. None of those globes make contact. Looks like one maybe did. There's the Keeper of Secrets in the distance, just continues to rout off Clan Rats and such. Sigvald's heal cap is here. He's going to fight back against the Warlord for now. The Warlord decides to try and run away. Takes one hit on the bum for his efforts. The Council Guard are stuck fighting Chaos Warriors and Sigvald. Not going to enjoy that whatsoever as the Warlock Engineer continues to drain down and kill off anything he can. For Slaanesh, you do have one Marauder Horseman left. It has a single volley, but that's not really the important part. The important part for this Marauder Horseman is to rout as many Skaven units as possible and chase them off the map as Poisonwind Globes take out the last of the Chaos Warriors. A little bit of friendly fire onto the Council Guard, but it's not such a big deal. Routs off the Poisonwind Globes yet again. And then piles into the fight. They don't want to be here. They don't want to get drained down by the Warlock Engineer. They also don't want to fight this many spears, so they really need to pick off these Rat Ogres, pick off the Gutter Runners, do stuff like that. Warlord takes a nasty shot from Sigvald on his way in. Keeper of Secrets is still chasing off some Skaven in the distance to try and get more Slaanesh army passive. Marauder Horseman trying to get away from the Warlord as another Flensing Ruin Overcast hits Sigvald. The Warlock Engineer has no ways of getting extra Winds of Magic, so that should be his last Flensing Ruin Overcast of the game. At 20 Winds of Magic, he casts 3 of them, that's 60. So he has one more Undercast in him if he uses all of his Winds of Magic available to him in the entire game. We will see. That's his last Overcast on the Sigvald. It does do insane damage. We'll see if it's enough. Sigvald might be enough to carry this game out anyway. Marauder Horseman still trying to run away from the Warlord. Narcissism Tier 2 army ability is used onto him to net him just to get the Marauder Horseman away. I'm not sure if that was worth it at this point. Marauder Horseman trying to loop around. They need to just fight the Rat Ogres and knock them out because they're not really getting anything done here. They're just getting shot by Gutter Runners now, taking a bunch of damage. And the net onto the Warlord was unfortunately wasted. Marauder Horseman getting a downhill charge. This is nice. They might be able to get some shock damage out and route some more things near Sigvald. Keeper of Secrets is trying to come back to the fight. Chaos Warriors and Slaanesh are also trying to come back. But the Skaven are stalwart. They do not rout at all. Now the Marauder Horseman just gets surrounded and routed off. So unfortunately, they did not get a lot done. Warlock Engineer gets completely bodied by Sigvald. It looks like we won't get to see if that last Flensing Ruin is going to come out or not. Sigvald's melee stats are up 70, 84 for him, while Slippery is active, and there's no more Flensing Ruins to hit him for that, though his healing cap has been reached. Keeper of Secrets returns, takes a little bit of damage from the Gutter Runners and the Rat Ogres, but does manage to rout both of them off. Now at 11 leadership. Can it take the fight with the Warlord? It needs to charge him, or its leadership will fall to Demonic Instability Crumbling. It does get the charge. Takes a nasty shot from him, but returns one in kind, and now that Narcissism would be nice to net this Warlord right in front of Sigvald so he can't run away, right in front of the Keeper of Secrets too. But the Narcissism was used earlier. It's not here. The Keeper's down to 0 leadership, and it starts to Demonic Instability Crumble. It gets one last charge off into these guys, which will keep it alive for just a brief second. But it'll go down any moment now. So the Gutter Runners are back and throwing. There goes the Keeper of Secrets. Sigvald is now pretty much alone. I guess he has some Chaos Warriors in the distance, has some Router Horsemen. The Warlock Engineer is at -2 leadership. Still routing towards the edge of the map. He's back at 1 leadership. Back to 2, back to 4. The Warlord's going over to try and give him an extra little bit of leadership. Marauder Horsemen get a downhill charge into the Gutter Runners. Try and rout them off yet again, but they're here to stay, and the Marauder Horsemen get going yet again. The Warlord leaves the Warlock Engineer to his own devices. Sigvald continues to grind through all these Skaven. Slippery is popped again, giving him all the melee defense he could ever need. 84. Chaos Warrior is going to go fight Gutter Runners and Night Runners. Night Runners are in. Chaos Warriors, even at their diminished state, should be able to slap through these Night Runners, no issue. Gutter Runners use last their ammunition onto the Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh. These guys are taking a lot more damage than I would have expected. Rout off the Night Runners. Sigvald routs off everything else. The Warlock Engineer routs again of his own volition, and the Warlord tries to jump back in. But he thinks better of it. He retreats. He wants to go get his Warlock Engineer back. And the Gutter Runners use the last of their ammunition fighting Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh, and they shatter off the battlefield. Now, everything for the Skaven is routing. If this was a tournament, the Skaven would have to attack with the Warlord, or have to attack with something. But this is a quick battle, so it's a little more Wild West. And the Warlord is actually just going to attack anyway. Goes after the Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh, gets a nice little charge onto them, and it starts to try and run away. As Sigvald is coming after him with Mortal Blow. Ready to go. -4 for the Warlock Engineer. But as the Warlord tries to get close to him, tries to give him any buffs he can for leadership, the Warlock Engineer is getting dangerously close to the white line. Clan Rats routing. Warlord left alone. The Warlock Engineer loses the Lord Deep is nearby buffs, but his flank secure buff shows up, bringing him back to the fight for just a second. And then the enemy routing flank secure keeps him in it. Warlord returns to his Clan Rats, and all of a sudden, bounce power is still Sigvald favored, but not as much as the final Flensing Rune we were watching for the entire game comes out. And it is Overcast. Oh, with 80. Yeah, 80 wins of magic can get off 4 Flensing Runes. My bad. So with the Flensing Rune Overcast, that might actually just kill Sigvald straight up, as the Warlord does charge in, deals a little bit of extra damage to him. Then the Warlord starts to leave, realizing that the spell will do its work, and he needs to just stay alive. As his Clan Rats are thinking about routing, the Warlord actually just cycle charges back in, misses Sigvald entirely on the pass, then goes back in for one more shot. Sigvald's leadership is fine, but his health is not. Flensing Rune still has 7 seconds left of fighting, but the Warlord's gonna rout. Maybe a little too bold. Army losses will do the work, though, and Sigvald will go down. Skaven win it. A bit of a wild game. Butterlancer's Warlord did well. Council Guard did well. Teethbreakers still suck. Warlock Engineer did amazing with all those Flensing Runes onto the single entities. Night Runners and Gutter Runners also got fantastic value versus Slaanesh. Poisonwind Globes did fine. Rat Ogres did pretty well. And then Clan Rats just held until the day's end. GG. On the other side, Sigvald 2,200 value. Shadows Caster 1,500. Keeper of Secrets 1,400, which is all pretty nice. Hellstriders, after all their nerfs, did not do very well. Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh were unfortunately forgotten for quite a while. And then Chaos Warriors and Marauders did okay. Furies got really good value. So, GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes.